Contrarians, welcome back to the Encrypted Capital recap for Wednesday, December 29th. First off, we got some cryptos catching a bit here. We got Strong up 18%. We got XDC looking good, up about 8.3%. It'll be interesting to see if these altcoins move like they moved at the beginning of this year. We saw a nice move in a handful of altcoins as we were watching the BTC dominance drop, as you guys can see right back over here. May 19th roughly was the end, I guess, of that first wave. But during that time frame, from basically the beginning of the year up until roughly May 15th or so, we saw assets like Telcoin, DENT, and others make significant gains. But as we stated before, there were quite a few assets that did not make a move. We're talking like the Bitcoin Cashes, the Dashes, the Z Cashes, those big players in like the top 20. A lot of them didn't do jack shit. So now we're anticipating that a lot of this money is going to be flowing out of Bitcoin and maybe even out of Ethereum and going into these other assets that haven't done anything. So it'll be interesting to see if a lot of people are selling off right now in order to get that tax advantage, because right now you can basically take a loss and then go buy back in and then still write it off as a loss. So it's an interesting tax loophole that I think that they're trying to close, but for right now it is still valid. So we'll see how this stuff plays out here, but let's dive into the news real quick. We got Bitcoin can hit 333K parabolically if this BTC price fractal plays out. And so there's been a lot of talk if we're going into a bear market or if Bitcoin still has some gas left in the tank. I tend to think that Bitcoin probably doesn't have much gas left in the tank. Even if it does go and hit, let's say 250K, I mean, cool, you got 5x. Okay, you're going to hold out for maybe 5x, maybe, or go into the altcoins and spread your asset or spread your money around into a bunch of assets and have a guaranteed, 5, 10x if, some of these altcoins get back up to their previous all-time high. I mean, some of them still have another 5, 6x to go just to get to that point, let alone every alt season we've ever had, the altcoins always surpass the previous all-time highs. So we'll see what this guy's saying over here. He does make a statement that I do agree with. He says you don't have enough crypto for the 2022 bull run, and I guess you can never have enough crypto, especially if you're realizing that we're in this particular part of the cycle that we're in. Probably want to get your hands on as much as possible. He's got this chart laid out here. That this time will be different chart, and I don't buy that one bit. I don't think that this time will be different for the bull runs. I think that it'll always end up following a similar pattern, just basically going off what we've seen historically. It's not that Bitcoin's going to go and climb to 333K this cycle. I find that very, very hard to believe. And as I mentioned in the last video, I got some of my friends holding out for these crazy price points in Bitcoin when they'd be much better off just finding other assets. I mean, look at Zcash, look at Bitcoin Cash. Not a huge fan of Bitcoin Cash fundamentally, but technically, I mean, the chart looks awesome. And we know that Roger Ver's backing that, and him and all his billionaire boys have a ton of capital to throw into some of these projects that have been around for a little while. So you notice that Roger Ver's on the board of a lot of these. He's on the board as an advisor, I should say, for a lot of these crypto projects. And, it's my hypothesis that the projects that he's backing will flourish. And I do think that going into the first quarter of next year, we're going to see some really nice rallies, but I don't think Bitcoin's going to be the showstopper. I think that the showstoppers are going to be these assets that are still supremely undervalued. And so this guy's got his little chart here, and if it hits this line, yeah, you might hit 333K. But like I said, I still find that very hard to believe. I think you're much better off playing the statistics, playing the probabilities of these other assets mooning versus Bitcoin, going up just, another couple 100%. So we'll scroll down here. He's got some other information here that I want to kind of analyze and digest. He says stocks could win big. I do think that the stock market will continue to rally. I don't think that we're ready for a sell-off just yet. I do think that you're going to see crypto run in tandem with the stock market breaking into new highs, but there is going to be a devastating crash that takes place. And how that comes about, I guess, is anybody's guess. We are going to get into the cyber pandemic theories that I've been seeing floating around here in a little bit. I'm going to go through some of those and kind of give you guys my take on that. But that could be the catalyst that basically makes the stock market bottom fall out. So this guy was saying that the Fed, he said this gives Fed cover to raise rates after QE0, after market digests and realizes economy has been decimated, then see impact of higher rates and the downside could be big. So yeah, I do agree with that. I do think the downside could be very big, but I do think that the altcoins need to go and make their run first before we're going to see any type of crazy pan sell-off. I do think that once the altcoins get overextended and we have those crazy new all-time highs come into play, that then I would maybe anticipate both the stock market and cryptocurrencies falling and then people flocking to gold and silver. And so I think buying gold and silver is a great hedge, especially silver. I do think that silver is one of the most undervalued assets. I know that I've shown that guy Gregory Manorino and some of the chats in the Discord. I know he feels the same way. I've been buying silver for quite a long time, even before I knew, I guess, how undervalued it was. It was always just something that I thought was interesting and cool to collect. But now, so even more than ever, knowing that JP Morgan's been accused of rigging the metal market for who knows how long, and all they do is get a slap on the wrist from time to time. It just seems like whenever they're ready to let the lid fly off here, that these prices are going to skyrocket. And I think what better time than when, crypto and stocks are falling. You can really go ahead and compound your gains from crypto if you start buying precious metals and start dollar cost averaging in. So just my opinion, just an idea, just a theory, but it might be something to look into if you guys are looking to diversify out of crypto. Where you're going to move your money to. You're going to buy more stocks. It might not be the best idea. You really have to do some really good research and kind of figure out where you should go. I do think that gold and silver is a great inflation hedge and a great hedge if we go into this crazy great reset that's being talked about by the World Economic Forum. It just makes sense. So next up, Arcane Research releases its crypto predictions for 2022. The research firm has made numerous predictions about crypto in 2022 about the price, regulations, Bitcoin hash rate, etc. He says Bitcoin will outperform the S&P 500 in 2022. I don't know. I don't know about that one. If Bitcoin is or has hit the top already, it'd be hard for me to believe that it's going to outperform the S&P, but who knows, if we do get a spike to the upside, I guess that could be possible, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that. They also say XRP and Cardano will fall out of the top 10, and this is from Cointelegraph. Arcane noted the tremendous gains on Binance this year, Binance Coin, I should say, and they're saying that along with the NFT craze, the analysts are tipping XRP and Cardano will exit the top 10. I do not agree with that one bit, especially with XRP. Cardano, it's already had a really nice run. You're talking about Cardano coming from 3 cents, and it literally had a 100x gain. It hit just around $3, and now it's retraced significantly, I think more than 50% at this point in time. But XRP, 360, depending on what exchange you're looking at for the all-time high, and it's still trading under $1. That's the real value add right here. And we're going to get into this in a second with the ISO coins and the ISO protocol. But I would find it hard to believe that XRP is going to exit the top 10 and stay there. I think you're probably going to end up seeing XRP flipping Ethereum. Again, that's the only asset that's ever flipped Ethereum and taken it out of the number 2 spot. And so while I can't say that Ethereum and Bitcoin are going to flip each other, I think that XRP and Ethereum flipping is definitely a possibility. It's happened multiple times, and I would have to think that if we get some positive news here regarding the lawsuit, there's a very, very good chance that XRP does flip Ethereum. So I think that could be possible. I do not think that it's going to fall out of the top 10. If it does, it's not going to be for long. Alternate layer ones will continue to outperform ETH. They say while Ethereum outperformed BTC this year with a gain of 455%, to 73%. Other layer 1 blockchains outperformed ETH. Layer 1 refers to standalone base layer blockchains. So Terra Luna ends 2021 up 14,000%, which is awesome. Phantom up 13,000%. We'll see. I do think that Ethereum, while it does have maybe some gas left in the tank, it's not going to be much. I mean, you might get that 200 or 300% on your money from where we're at now, but that's so insignificant compared to what some of these other assets are going to do. I expect some of these gains that Terra Luna got and Phantom to be basically thrown into like a Tron or one of those other assets. I mean, Tron did 15,000% last cycle, literally within 30 days, right? So Tron hasn't done shit so far. It's been kind of hanging out between 5 and I think the high was like 18 cents, the previous high, and the all-time high is 33 cents for Tron. So I think that Tron's going to really surprise people and kind of blow everything out of the water here. It's notorious for having these crazy run-ups, and I do anticipate Tron having a similar percentage gain as Terra Luna and Phantom. And so we also got traditional gaming companies will increasingly add NFTs. I do think that'll happen for sure. Obviously, the NFT space is getting really big. But the whole thing with NFTs is there has to be some sort of dividend mechanism attached to the NFT. It can't just be a piece of art, bullshit picture, and you don't get anything else with it. It has to be, a new band came out with some artwork, and if you own the NFT that has the artwork on it, well, now you get to go to the record release party or something along those lines. There's got to be something else that has value attached to these NFTs. And so I do think the gaming companies and gaming will be really big for NFTs as we start to spawn off into the metaverse. All that stuff will be huge, but there has to be something of substance that comes along with these NFTs. It can't just be Ellen DeGeneres' bullshit cat drawing and that's all you get. Like, that's not going to sell. I can guarantee you that, and it already hasn't. So we also got even more crypto companies will go public, and several will have valuations above $5 billion. I do think that's true. You are going to see a lot more cryptocurrency companies go public. I mean, you got basically Coinbase and Kraken are a bank essentially at this point. And then you also have companies like Ripple, which raised their Series C. I believe it was like $250 million. That's one of the last rounds before a company does go public. So I do anticipate that we will see more and more companies do just that. But I think the real utility bull run is still quite a ways away. And so I do think they are accurate with that, though. Bitcoin ETFs will hold more than 1 million BTC by end of 2022. It says several Bitcoin futures exchange traded funds were launched in 2021. They currently collectively hold about 846,309 BTC, and Arcane said the growth will only continue in 2022. Possibly, I'm not exactly 100% sure on that, because we do know that when Bitcoin futures went live last bull run, that did signify the top for Bitcoin. And then coincidentally enough, we did have the ETFs come into play in October, and we've basically been going down since then. So maybe not. I'm on the fence with that one. It really depends on if Bitcoin has any gas left in the tank or not. It says hash rate will become even more geographically distributed when China banned Bitcoin mining, as they always do. Bitcoin's global hash rate fell sharply and then nearly as suddenly recovered, it says. So now the U.S. leads the world in hash rate, followed by Kazakhstan and Russia. Arcane believes miners will disperse even further into regions such as Latin America. More than likely, yeah, I think El Salvador is kind of spearheading the migration with the hash rate and kind of being distributed more geographically. I do think that you'll probably see this hash rate flow out of China, as China was controlling such a large percentage of the hash rate. And we even have guys like Peter Thiel who are building their own mining operations in Texas. And so I would have to think that is more than likely a possibility as we go into the new year here. And so aside from Arcane research, let's jump into the ISO stuff. 20022 is the protocol that's been being written for literally 20 years now. If you want to go back and look at that ISO PDF they put out for dummies, it goes into how long this has been in play for. And as we know, the common language that they're going to be utilizing with this ISO protocol is going to improve the quality of data across the payment ecosystem. So essentially, frictionless payments that are instant, and they're going to have to be utilizing bridge currencies in order to do this. And as we've done in many of our deep dives, we know that XRP is one of those bridge currencies. We're also aware that XDC could be used as a liquidity token as well, a smart contract token. Essentially, they need to be able to utilize the core to blockchain, which, as we know, is funded by the 9 banks. We're talking Credit Suisse. We got Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Wells Fargo. The list goes on for all those people that have been funding the R3 core to blockchain since 2015. And so now we're really starting to see them accelerate and hit the gas on what's going to be basically the new messaging protocol for all these banks to use. They're giving the banks a little bit of a timeline to kind of get their ducks in a row to switch over. But this is all coming down the pipeline, and November is supposed to be, I should say November of this upcoming year is supposed to be when everything basically goes live and the switch gets flipped. So it'll be interesting to see if the bull run does go into late 2022, knowing that this stuff is coming down the pipeline, or if they decide to go ahead and push it back even further. They're notorious for changing these dates on when everything's going to get released and kind of building up anticipation and really faking people out. I mean, we've been waiting for the XRP massive bull run for how many years now? You know, it's been quite a while, and it really makes you wonder why are the XRP holders having to go through so much bullshit compared to these meme coins that people kind of just gravitate towards and they go up like crazy. What is the reason that they've really done a great job of forcing the retail traders out, forcing them to go elsewhere to buy their XRP? You can't really buy it on Coinbase or any of these other exchanges in the US. There's only a very, very small handful of them. Us personally, we get ours through KuCoin. But, you know, you have to really wonder, is there a reason that they want to force everybody out and kind of wear their patience thin on holding on to this asset? Could it be because that they are going to be utilizing XRP as a bridge currency that has to have trillions of dollars flow through the XRP ledger, that the price of this asset is going to absolutely skyrocket and blow people's minds, and that they want to make sure they can get as much of it as they can for themselves? Or is it a dud and XRP and Ripple are going to go away and it has no value? You know, you really have to make up your mind and really know what you're invested in and how, you know, basically see how great of an asset XRP is, XDC is, XLM, Algorand, you know, all these assets that are going to be utilized on this core to blockchain and go and work in conjunction with the new 20022 Swift protocol. I mean, it's absolutely massive. This is why you guys really need to do your research and hunt this stuff down so you can align yourselves before you have all the mainstream news organizations talking about these assets. And so it says here, a year after sharing a bold vision to enable instant and frictionless transactions from one account to another anywhere in the world, Swift today underlines major progress in realizing this vision in 2021. And so this was published just a couple weeks ago, December 14th, and it goes into everything that we talked about. Fast, affordable, low-value cross-border payments, frictionless payments with few holdups, improved service to end customers through rich data. All this stuff is here, and it's basically just going to be, hey, let's flip the switch, and then they need a good excuse in order to flip that switch, and that's kind of where we get into the cyber pandemic and all that stuff. So it says big bangs back Swift's new platform and ISO 20022 roadmap. And so talking about the banks here, now we got the Bank of China, Bank of New York Mellon, BNP Paribas, I think I said that wrong, Citi, Deutsche Bank, and Standard Chartered confirmed their preparations for the platform as the cooperative detailed a roadmap it will roll out over the next 18 months. And this was published back in June, right? So they're not fucking around. These guys are dead serious, and this is where you guys need to align yourself, in my opinion. Says BNY Mellon launched an ISO 20022 hub to help clients and other financial institutions to manage their transition to the new payment standard. Set for introduction in November of 2022, which we discussed, the ISO messaging standard promises to have significant and widespread impacts on financial institutions across the globe over the coming years. What else do we got here? No thanks. According to Swift, ISO is an increasingly established global language for payments messaging. already used by payment systems in over 70 countries. In the coming years, it will be the de facto standard for high-value payment systems of all reserve currencies, supporting 80% of global volumes and 87% of the value, transactions worldwide. So, where do you guys think you need to be in Shiba Inu bullshit, dog shit, bullshit coin, or in the powerhouses, XRP, XLM, XDC, Algo, and IOTA? Also, what do we got here? Talked about the newsletter. If you guys haven't already, sign up for it. I think there's only a couple days left for our New Year's special. It's basically an epic special. I think 65% off is what we're offering for our new subscribers. So check it out. You guys can go ahead and see all our updates. These are all locked posts, but once you guys go ahead and sign up, you guys can unlock these and see exactly what we're talking about. You'll have instant access to all of the trades that we've made, all of the exit strategies that we're going to be sharing with our subscribers as we start to get to those previous all-time highs and beyond. As you can see, very, very active. You guys won't be disappointed. We have a ton of content out here for you guys to check out. So you guys will have instant access to all this. You guys can go back and even check out the archives and see what assets and what our portfolio moves have been all the way back, I think, since November of last year when we started this. So go ahead, check it out. Got nothing to lose. If you guys want to support the channel, great way to do so. And so now let's get into the cyber pandemic here. Keep seeing all these videos coming out about cyber pandemics, and that douchebag, what's his name, Klaus Schwab, has been talking about, he's from the World Economic Forum, he's been talking about the cyber pandemic. Basically, it'll make the coronavirus pandemic look like a walk in the park. Imagine having everything shut off, having your bank cards shut off, credit freezes, you name it, because there's some crazy hack that took place on the internet, some virus for the internet, and now you guys can't do shit. That's when having a nice pile of cash that you're sitting on is really going to come into play here, because if they do shut off the debit cards and the credit cards, you're not even going to be able to run to the ATM to get your money out. So I'd highly recommend having a little bit of a cushion if you can afford to do so. Have a few G's stacked on the sidelines for basic necessities, because the way this guy was talking, this tool and founder from the World Economic Forum, they're basically preparing for this. And they talked about running simulations. Cyber pandemic to reset the world is around the corner. The reboot button. We talked about the Great Reset. The great cyber pandemic to reset the world is around the corner again. So Candace Owens, she came out. While I'm not going to get into politics here about, right or left or whatever, I think it's all two sides of the same coin in my opinion. But they are running practice drills for what would happen if there was a virus that infected the internet and shut everything down. And if you've been paying attention, they've basically been prepping you guys for this. And we're talking the Colonial Pipeline cyber attack. And I do think that that was more than likely a false flag. And my reasoning for that is the fact that the hacker wanted Bitcoin. If you're a hacker, why would you want Bitcoin knowing that it can be tracked and traced? You'd want to use something like what? Monero, or maybe Zcash, but I don't think it's as anonymous as Monero is. But Monero, okay, decentralized cryptocurrency, uses a public distributed ledger with privacy-enhancing technologies that obfuscates transactions to achieve anonymity and fungibility. Basically means that you cannot track or trace Monero. So why wouldn't you be asking for Monero if you're going to go hack a pipeline? It'd be very easy for the FBI to come and find your ass if you're using Bitcoin. Makes absolutely zero sense. All you have to do is literally just sit down and think about it for a second, right? So what's the story here? Why are they running drills? Okay, just like they ran the Event 201 drill for C19 back in October. What happened? Literally a month and a half later, coronavirus was found, and they started blaming China for all that, and you guys know the story. And now here we are, complete and total control. Has nothing to do with an actual pandemic. It has to do about getting a vaccine stuffed inside your body. And if you actually want to really sit down and think about it for a second, How can you make 1 billion doses of a vaccine in such a short time frame? What was it, like 6 to 9 months? If you were to make one dose and you had to make 1 billion of them, it would take you over 30 years at one dose per second to make 1 billion doses. So how the hell did they make that many doses so quickly? You'd have to think that they were already stockpiled. And if it was already stockpiled, it means this whole thing is a fucking joke. So if you have 2 functioning brain cells and you actually can think about how this is all played out and where we're going right now and what's came about all of this, okay, it has nothing to do with protecting your health and safety, right? Where are all those free cancer screenings with all those people dying of cancer, right? Where are all those free cancer treatments? Nowhere to be found, but they will give you a free dose of a Johnson & Johnson, right? So, back to the cyber pandemic. What the hell is going on here? If they want to go ahead and do this, in my opinion, if you really want to go ahead and analyze what's taking place here, if they have a cyber pandemic, more than likely you're going to have an ID linked to your ass after this is all said and done, which allows you to jump on the internet, which is linked to your ISP or however the hell they're going to do it. Then you also have your medical records, which will probably be tied to this national ID or world ID for that fact. And then along with that are the cryptocurrencies on the blockchain, their cryptocurrencies that they want you to use. Think back to the 9 banks funding everything on the Corda blockchain. More than likely, they will be having you use those. Trackable, traceable, irreversible. And now, you can only buy or sell or jump on the internet with the proper identification. Is this what's coming down the pipeline? Maybe, most likely. It seems obvious if you really just go ahead and look at how all the pieces are coming together here. More than likely, this is what's going to be taking place. So, highly recommend prepping. Have a bunch of cash on the sidelines. Make your money in crypto. Get a little vault, Get that Italian job bank vault going. Stuff with all your bars. Bury that shit in the ground somewhere in your backyard so you have access to it and no one else does. And then you guys can go ahead and plan your attack for escaping what seems to me to be like some crazy totalitarian regime coming down the pipeline. But that's just my thoughts. You guys can leave your own comments in the comment section below and let me know what you think. Am I off my rocker or do I actually make some sense? So, with that being said, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Hope you guys all have a great day. Have a happy new year. Sorry Rocky could not make this podcast today, so I think we're going to go ahead and answer some of your guys' questions from the Discord. Probably going to end up doing it tomorrow or Friday. So please like, share the video, get this stuff out there, and we will catch you all in the next video.